Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, my friends. I am the Dark Librarian. Your friend from Bizarre Brain Comics, and I'm here to tell you tales of terror. And this time, we're going to tell tales from this little missive right here that Mr. Bones is holding. This is from Ghostly Haunts, number 40, 1974, Charlton Comics. This is the one that is hosted by my good friend Winnie the Witch. Yes, with some great work by Steve Ditko, Wayne Howard, and Tom Sutton. He does this great cover illustration. You're very horrifying. So, let us not dawdle. Let us enter the pages of fear and terror in Ghostly Haunts. Yes, this is Ghostly Haunts. This is a very rough copy. The staples are missing, the pages are loose, and someone wrote 10 cents on the cover. But you can see our friend Winnie up here in the corner, and that's her right over there, my version of her. She is our host. It says Echoes of the Spirit World, all new, so it's got all new stories. And this is Ghostly Haunts number 40, Charlton Comics, 1974. It's an American horror suspense anthology published by Charlton from 1971 to 78. Hosted by Winnie the Witch, who is a blue-skinned witch. And my research indicated there were a total of 39 issues. Yet this is number 40 from 74. So I presume that it started out under a different title and then adopted the Ghostly Haunts title. And it was part of the wave of horror titles published by Charlton, including The Many Ghosts of Dr. Graves, Ghostly Tales, Ghost Manor, Haunted and Scary Tales. It is thought that Charlton books got away with more EC-esque type stories, especially this one, in this book because Charlton was a more obscure publisher that the Comics Code Authority paid less attention to their contents, so they got away with more. And in here, one of the writers, and the few credits listed, Tom Sutton wrote one, the one that he illustrated, and the second story in here was credited to Jim Beam, which is a pseudonym for Joe Gill, and there are no credits for the Steve Ditko story, so could have been Ditko writing it, or Joe Gill, or who knows. But we'll take a little look at it anyway. But first, remember, you can get your character cards just like these. Just like these other horror hosts. Or any other comic book, comic strip, cartoon character, Star Trek, Star Wars, etc. And send a message to me here at my email address, and we will work up what we can, what you need for yourself or a gift for another. Here we have Ghostly Haunts with this cover by Tom Sutton. Looks kind of creepy. And I want to point out here a couple things here in this cover. Okay, this is silhouette, creepy, sickly green silhouette of a spider. At first you might not be able to tell it is a spider with this giant web and this figure here, of course, all the bones around there. But I wanted to show you some of the technique used in here. Now, when Tom Sutton did this, he used a board that had a little more texture. It wasn't totally smooth. It had some texture to it, but not too much texture that would interfere with his pen lines, etc., like here. But had enough so he could go back. He went back with a like a Conte crayon, a grease pencil, or something, or an ebony pencil, something like that, to add some, to use the texture of the board. You can see right here for some shading, for a little more varied effect with all these darks, and so that he'd go over with that pencil, and it would, the texture of the board breaks up that that pencil, so that it breaks up into for a gray shading, for better reproducibility. That's nice. A nice effect there. You don't see it that often in comic books. In our first story, Beast and All Men, which is a Steve Ditko story. And right there is Winnie. And there's Winnie right there. There's Winnie. Scientist. It's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde type story. This enzyme to evolve people. He's got this gorilla that he gave this stuff to. It's being evolved towards more human look. And when he comes back in to fill us in, while he's gone, the new assistant thinks the new assistant, because he's big and lumbering and looks a little bit like Radcliffe, the gorilla, what a gorilla has changed into, that she thought it was him, but it wasn't him. And he's got this enzyme. He's also got a counter enzyme, one that'll devolve him back to his original. Anyone taking this stuff, this is all part of his experiment, and he's going to go to the next step and use this stuff on himself. And he's also got the reverse stuff right there as well. So he experiments on himself, takes it, and it changes him. But he changes and he becomes more bestial. And he wants to go out and hunt. You can see him, even though the wisps on his hair make him look a little bit more demonic. He wants to go out. And he's very bestial. Go out and going to attack the girl. But meanwhile, Radcliffe had gotten out. He could never speak, but he was more intelligent. He stops the doctor from attacking the girl and forces the solution down his throat, and he has returned to himself. And Radcliffe is back in his cage. And he says, Radcliffe knew, he must have known that I took the wrong formula, which devolved me, and he got the evolving formula and gave that to me, which made me return me to normal. And then Radcliffe is just laughing, because, of course, the opposite was true. He had taken the correct formula, but had changed him into a bestial figure. I don't know, stuff like that. A little insert here for historical purposes by Baron Werewolf from one of the other titles. Then the Wastrel. This is the one that I like. The Wayne Howard artwork. Of course, remember Wayne Howard had been an assistant to Wally Wood, and he picked up a lot of his art techniques, and his stuff bears a strong resemblance to the great Wally Wood. But while his draftsmanship is not up to Wally Wood standards, you can clearly see the Wally Wood influence. And then it's the Wastrel. This is one written by Jim Beam, which is Joe Gill. Two twins, identical twins. This is about 100 years ago. One a layabout, they're to a rich family. One excels in his academics and such. They're together near their New England cabin at the seashore and the lake, whatever. He's the date of the bad brother goes in, gets caught in some turbulence, and the good brother goes in and helps her, but she gets out. She thinks it was the bad brother who helped her. She said, "No, it wasn't me. Then it must be your brother." And he's been sucked down. You better go help him. So he reluctantly, she talks him into going to help his brother. Well, his brother is already stuck. He'll get stuck going there too, in the currents. And he'll get stuck there and drown too. So he's not even going to try to help his brother and just lets him drown. Then he gives him an excuse of, it's okay, I couldn't help him. And he comes back, I couldn't help him. Then sometime later, his rich parents driving on a mountain road, and they crash. So they crash and die, and he inherits everything, but they realized that he had tampered with their brakes because they're normally in good shape, but the bad brother had been seen messing with their car. But no one else knows that. So here he is. He's just taking advantage of all his fortune while the business is beginning to crash and burn. And he keeps hearing the voices of his dead brother. The voice of his dead brother saying, "You've got to do this, you've got to do that." So I know that you killed him. One could just say it was his conscience, but then the ghost appears to him while he's with a date. Of course, she doesn't know what's going on. And he says he knows that he killed the parents. He was the cause of his death, or I'll let him die. And so he breaks off the date. He starts doing good in the business. And then now he just wants to get things going again. So he's going to take some time off and just party hardy. Well, the voice of his brother comes to him again and forces him to go get flowers, go visit his parents' grave, where he apologizes to them, goes to his own grave, and then the ghost is released. And he says goodbye. And he has turned his life around because of the ghost of his dead brother. Then the gamekeeper. This is, looks probably 1700s, early 1800 times. And this is just a splash page. Tom Sutton. It's not his best work, but it's a little different than some of his others. Remember, Tom Sutton had done work for Warren horror magazines. he's the artist on that Vampirella story that I did about a year and a half ago, and he did. But he was a good cartoonist. He did real spooky stuff. He did a lot of superhero work for Marvel, a lot of the horror stuff for Charlton, and humor stuff for Marvel and others. So he had a versatile style. And this lady just comes home, just got married for her first time to the Von Drood Castle. And she's going to be the mistress of the castle. And the hunchback, who is the servant there, says, it is her, she. And she notices that every night, all the animals, the howls and sounds of all the animals out in the forest around the castle. And she's curious about that. And Von Drood tells her, never go out into the grounds at night, because all these animals are out there. They know me. I grew up here, but they may kill you, may harm you. So, and there's this one locked room that she's not supposed to go into. And while he's out one evening, because he would go out at night into the woods, and she snatched the keys, went into the locked room where she's not supposed to go, and sees all these paintings and artifacts and stuff from the family. But all the paintings, everything is about animals. All the paintings are the family members with animals. And he says, this is the servant, do you like the paintings, Miss Avis? You are the first outsider who has ever seen them. And then she screams, I'm not an outsider. I am the mistress here. I'm not an outsider. And he just laughs and laughs and laughs. So when her husband has gone out, again, she follows him out, follows his path, but she soon loses sight of him. And then all the animals got cats and snakes and wolves and everything, and they threaten her but don't harm her, and they're guiding her out to one place, and there it is. Oh, I saw the paintings. I said, oh no, you shouldn't have come. You shouldn't have come, because now we've broken our agreement. And here he is. Then he is stuck in the. He says, because you've discovered the secret of our family. We are part beast. And he transforms into a werewolf. But now he is, because she came out there, he is stuck in the web of the real mistress of the place. This giant spider coming to feast on him. All the horrors. And then another little thing about vampires and werewolves by Baron Werewolf. And that is our total of Ghostly Haunts, with some really nice artwork by several artists. It is not Ditko's best work, but better than some. He was really going downhill this time period, and he could not draw decent women to save his life at this point. Early in his career, he could, but I guess he just didn't care, wasn't paying any attention. Some of them look like he phoned them in. But I'm still a Ditko fan. So please like, share, subscribe. Share it with your other horror-loving fans. And leave a comment. What do you think of this title? The Charlton Horror, Winnie the Witch, or this variety of artists. Are you a Tom Sutton fan? A Wayne Howard fan? A Steve Ditko fan? Write and let me know. Ha! And thank you for joining me. And remember, comics are art.